Swans chasing yellow and green through every ground in the championship scene. Bags packed, scarves high, stories to share. Wherever the Canaries play, we'll be there. On the road, city, we're singing loud and proud. From the river to the terraces, we'll follow through the crowd. On the road, city, from Dublin to the Shire, we'll find the pubs, the songs, the hearts, and light the Canary fire. Fans in the stands tell us where to go, for a pint, for a bite, for the best pre-match glow. What's the town like? Where should we stay? What's the roar of your home crowd like?
Hello, Norwich fans and football fans. It's Cillian, your Flying Canary, and I'm joined with my co-host, Nick. How are you today, Nick?
Yeah, good, thank you. Just still recovering from the Derby Day defeat, but I think that will live long in the memory. And obviously, having been on Yellow Friday, another good opportunity to vent my frustration and actually positivity and support for Liam Manning and the lads.
Very good. Well, this time we're getting ready for a long trip, certainly a long trip for you, to Swansea. I'll be flying into Bristol, actually renting a car this time and driving down to Swansea from there. Even though it's one of the closer grounds to me in Dublin, it's still an awkward trip. What's it like for you, Nick?
I'll be completely honest, I hate it. It's one of my worst away days. It's 4.5, 5 hours in the car. There's always traffic. There's never anywhere good to park, despite there being some industrial estates. It's always cold, it's always wet, and we normally lose. So I have to be honest, it's always a game that I don't massively look forward to. But I'll be there nonetheless. But like I say, for all of those reasons, it's one for me that I always find a reason to not go rather than looking forward to the long drive to Swansea. I have to be honest.
Well, I suppose there'll be a number of Norwich fans who've never been there before, and I'm sure a few will be going down maybe to see our former player, my fellow national, Adam Ida. But, we obviously have been there a couple of times, and we wouldn't be by any means experts on visiting Swansea. So I'm delighted to have two big Swans fans with us this evening. First of all, Jaimie, you're very welcome to join us, and also Owen. I know we're recording this a couple of weeks ahead of schedule, and there's a big game for Wales tonight, so I know Jamie's excited about that. So, Jaimie, maybe you could tell us a little bit about how you became a Swan.
Well, I think I made the ultimate sin. I was actually born up Cardiff way, but I never really followed Cardiff as I was growing up. I got a bit of, where I grew up around the valleys, we were more closely associated with Swansea City. So, Swansea City made inroads into the valleys, and, a lot of their most famous players came from the valleys. So I think in the valleys, whereas geographically we were closer to Cardiff, I think because Swansea sort of made better inroads and took a lot of the youngsters, and obviously a lot of us played for Swansea, I think that this is where a lot of the fans came from. So back when I was 19, 2 years ago, joking obviously, I moved to university in Swansea, and like I said, they were back in the days when we were playing in the old Vetch. I'm not sure if you both ever went to that stadium, but it was what I would call a proper stadium. It just made me sort of fall in love with football on the North Bank with the fans. My first ever game, I think, it was Rochdale at home back, I think, must have been 97, 98 when we were in the depths.
Right.
And then obviously when I moved to university, then I went, we hosted Reading in the FA Cup third round in January in the Vetch when I moved in 2005. And ever since then, I've just followed them. And obviously with you guys, similar to yourselves, when we had an element, we went up through the leagues from almost getting relegated back in 2003, but with us securing it on the final day against Hull. Ever from then to winning the League Cup 10 years later in Wembley was just been a wild ride, to then the Premier League and then getting relegated. And, it's been a wild ride, and it's certainly not dull being a Swans fan, I'll tell you that much for free. Although my heart rate does go up a lot and down a lot, as I'm sure you guys do. It's not like being a Manchester City fan or a Liverpool fan. I certainly say that,
Exactly. And what about Owen? I know you were driving at the minute. What's your history with Swansea City
Yeah,
Football
hi
Club?
gents, hi everyone. Just to give you all a heads up, I'm about to pull into petrol station, so hopefully I won't be causing much engine issues. Yeah, a brief history about myself. Yeah, 36 years old. Been a Swans fan for nearly 30 years. And that was primarily just due to my father and my brother. My brother was only about 20 months older than myself, and he wanted to go watch a football. My dad was like, yeah, let's go down. Took him down to the good old Vetchfield, as Jaimie said. Beautiful, rubbish old stadium down by Swansea Prison. And yeah, when I was just about old enough, my mother let me go to the match. And my first ever memory, probably the youngest memory I ever had, was walking up the steps to the East Stand with my dad, holding his hands and the sun beaming through. And I remember very vividly because for once, Swansea wasn't raining. So it was actually quite nice to have a bit of sun on my face, and I remember it very well. Yeah, ever since then, that season, my father took my brother and myself down to the game as much as we could. And then at the end of that season, my father got offered the job down Swansea City as a crowd doctor. My father's GP, by the way, he didn't use to stack shelf in Tesco's. He did go through the legitimate way of doing it. So he worked as a doctor down in the Vetchfield. And yeah, my brother and I just started going behind the scenes a little bit more, seeing everything behind the scenes, and it's just incredible. And then when we were both old enough to enjoy a bit more of the atmosphere, my brother and I moved into the North Bank, as Jaimie said, just to get a bit more of that atmosphere. Sorry, I'm reversing and pulling in. So I do apologise for squeakiness and what have you. There we are. Turn the engine off as well.
Hopefully your fence is squeaky when we play.
We probably will be, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, and then when we were about 13, 14, my brother, my friend and myself went to the North Bank, and my love for the club just went up tenfold that time, just to be amongst the crowd, get that atmosphere in. And yeah, we just became season tickets from that season on, been season ticket holders ever since. And yeah, it's just been on, as Jaimie said, a completely wild ride. We've been on a European road trip. Like the early days when I was there, Tony Petty was in charge, and it was absolutely horrendous from my experience when we were in the behind the scenes area in like the director's box. I remember one day in particular where the crowd actually stormed into the to behind the players' tunnel and started throwing bricks and stones through the glass windows. And I was only like 10 years old at the time. And yeah, so that was my second memory of the Vetchfield. But yeah, no, like I still go down there whenever I can now and just living the dream as a Jack.
I think what never ceases to amaze me is however many people we speak to about football and on these away day podcasts is everybody remembers their first game, and everybody's got their one or two fondest memories, which is great, right? It's great to continue that legacy, and most of them connect to family and friends as well, which is fantastic. Jaimie, I want to just ask you about the ex-Norwich player Adam Eder, and just explore a little bit about his first few games with you in Swansea. I think from a Norwich fan's perspective, we always felt there was talent there, but he just didn't score enough goals. I mean, he didn't get much opportunity to be fair. But what's his start been like in Swansea?
Yeah, I'd say a mixed start. I probably agree with you, and what I'm saying is like there's no question of the talent there, but does he take a little bit long to adapt? Like I said, are we as football fans a little bit too impatient these days with strikers? Like I said, we don't give them a lot of time to bed in. We just want instant results and instant goals. So from his ball play, from what I've seen, is very, very good. But yeah, he needs to score more goals. We're sitting mid-table, 12 points from 9 games. From a striker's point of view, it's directly correlated to your league position, to your striker scoring goals. That's what I think. I'm sure Owen will agree with me that, like I said, it's been a bit of a rocky start, but I think he does have the potential to score. Does he have 30 a season in him? I'd probably say no in that league. It's a tough league, with a lot of good teams. But, like I said, we've always struggled on the striker front, I'd say. We've always had a good midfield. Defence has been good, but it just seems to be a curse. Whichever striker comes to us, since the days of Danny Graham and all those lot scoring goals, Wilfred Boney, we never seem to have had a striker who could just score so many goals, So, yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Ghost?
Yeah, I fully agree. From my experience from seeing Eder since he's come in, I think he's been like I said the service needs to be there for him, and I think when he gets the service in place, he'll start banging in goals. And that's one thing we've been struggling over the last few seasons, probably a bit longer, is getting our service into the final third. But also, I think that he's got a really strong competition in Jaimie Elias. Jaimie Elias has been phenomenal since the start of the season, which for me, I've been chuffed a bit because ever since he's come in, I've always liked the look of Jaimie Elias coming in, and now he's been banging in goals for both club and country. I think that competition will give Ida that fire to push through, and scoring that penalty against Leicester in the last game, no doubt will give out any striker confidence, but someone like Adam Ida will give him that stronger bit of confidence. And no doubt, like I've seen a little bit between Nick and Ida when they both played at the same time on the pitch, and it was good to see them working off each other a little bit. So I would love to see that a little bit more, but as with the Swans, we have to adapt the formation to have two strikers on, and then probably drop Nick down to an attacking 10, and then Ida up front. But as always, no, life is a Swan. Things always chop and change, and you just see what happens.
I'm
Well,
sure
lads, can I
Cillian will
ask
keep
you
me honest,
about-
but I'm not sure Adam Ida's ever missed a penalty, Cillian, has he? I don't think he's ever missed one.
Not too many. If he has, he certainly didn't miss any for Norwich.
Sorry, mate. I know you were gonna say that.
Yeah, I was going to ask the lads about your match day ritual. So can you tell us what that's like?
I'll jump in first. Like I said, for me, I always like to get down early, find a parking space. I don't know what it's like in Norwich, but the parking is scandalous around
Amen.
Swansea City Stadium. So I always put my car in an industrial estate where I don't have to pay because I'm too tight to pay the £5 fee, apparently. And then I head myself down to the local chip shop, the famous chip shop, Rossi's. I'm sure you've seen it right outside the stadium. Always get myself a sausage batter, chips, and a carton of curry. And then I walk myself over there to the Harvester, not exactly your old school pub, but it's right next to the stadium. Meet up with a few friends. Always have myself a pint of Guinness. And then I make my way into the stadium 40 minutes in. I managed to squeeze in 3 pints down in the concourse there, one every 15 minutes.
That must have been a mortgage there.
Well, yeah, exactly. And then 5 minutes before the start, then head to my seat ready for the players to come out. And I tend to wear the same clothes. The Swans top with the Stone Island jacket. My lucky clothes haven't really worked for me very well, as you can imagine. But and then afterwards, then go home and drink my sorrows after another torrid performance. So yeah, that's my match day ritual.
But is it similar or different?
So with mine, I tend to arrive into Swansea about 2 hours beforehand. I moved out of Swansea now. I live in Bridgend, which is about a 30-minute drive east. So luckily enough, my brother still lives in the old house where we used to live. So we moved closer to the stadium. My brother wanted to move closer away from our old house because he wanted that community feel and getting amongst the whole Swansea when I would turn around. Like, I'd rather go somewhere where the parking's a lot freer for the stadium. I don't have to worry about moving my car and having a few beers. Yeah, so I parked my car about a 10-15 minute walk from the stadium. I walked down with my brother and my dad, who has now retired and has got a season ticket with both my brother, myself, and my uncle. And we head down to the Greggs and Harvester about an hour and a half before the game. Have ourselves some cans and some little snack bits that we get for ourselves because, again, we're too cheap to go to the Harvester and the Greggs to actually get the stuff for us. Yeah, we have a good old chinwag, just have an event and talk about life. And then half an hour beforehand, we go in. By that time, I've probably broken the seal and go straight to the toilet. But yeah, I don't have a pint in the stadium at that point because, I have a little bit of a good taste bud myself, and I don't like the watered down stuff they have in there. That's my own personal opinion. I know everyone has a bit differently. And yeah, we go to our old seat, which is on the 18-yard line near the near the away crowd, and just sit down and watch the torrential rubbish of Swansea City playing rubbish as always. But yeah, no, happy to do it every week, no problem at all.
I didn't make that last year. I think someone was getting married that day, but I think the previous year, I think Nick, it was like a concourse, like a hospitality sector. There was only about 300 of us there, so we had
It was
loads
definitely. I remember tea fondly in the Harvester when I met you. I met you straight from work, I think, and we had tea in the Harvester. I think we must have splashed out. But I'm keen, Jaimie, to find out where this bag of chips and curry sauce comes from. I have to say, because that's always a favourite of mine.
Rossi's right next to the football stadium. It's a favourite, it is, and it's very large capacity, so you'll very
It's right
much
by
enjoy
the away
it.
end as well, so it's easy enough to get there.
Perfect. Look forward.
Yeah.
Look forward. Look forward to it. Look forward to it. I'm conscious,
Might
gents,
try
that
that.
you both got other commitments this evening. Jaimie, you're keen to get on to the important Wales game. So, just in terms of places for the fans to go, where's the best place for an away fan to grab a beer? I tend to go to the Harvester, but are there other places nearby that people can grab a pre-match refreshment from?
Do you want to go, Jake?
Was I let you take this one? Yeah, you take
Yes,
this
sir,
one, mate.
yeah, obviously Harvester's Harvester. Like, they have obviously such a great range of beer, and it's on the doorstep, the stadium, so it's easy enough to get to. But one place that I would love to throw in, which I didn't go to the last game, my brother informed me of, so a big shout out to my big brother Dan for this. But across the road from the stadium, there's a Penderyn distillery that they've just opened up from the old copper works, and they have opened up like a match day bar area. So obviously you can try out some of the wonderful Penderyn whiskey that Penderyn's known for, as well as other beers and stuff they have there. And from what my brother said, it's a monumental moment for them that they actually said that they're going to change their meet-up spot now. So the Penderyn distillery across the road from the stadium apparently is a very good place to go to. And yeah, I would assume it's good for everyone.
That and they'll let away
Yeah, it should be
fans
good.
in, will they?
From
think?
my understanding, is a very big area, but I think as long as just the old standard, there's no hostility, no bad stuff, then it's all fine. So it should all be okay.
And for those Norwich fans, say that travel by train and end up in Swansea City, is there any places around that you'd recommend to get something to eat or to go for a drink?
Yeah, so what I'll tell you, so what I would say with that one is the train station is in the centre of town. So if you walk out the front of the train station and literally walk straight for probably about half a mile, you'll end up in a street called Wine Street. And it's a famous street in Swansea. It's where all our bars are, where there's restaurants. You've got like Wingstop, you've got Carl's Jr., Slim Chickens, Weatherspoons, all sorts of restaurants. Louisiana chicken place. They've got all sorts. So whatever you to your taste. And then if you wanted to, then you could get drinks on Wine Street. There's about 40 bars on the same street. And then if you wanted to walk then from the stadium, I'd say it's probably about a 30, 40-minute walk. And then there's pubs on the way then that you could call into for a pint and make it a bit of a pub crawl, although you might not be walking by the time you go in all of them and get to the stadium. So I probably wouldn't suggest that, yeah.
No, you mightn't get into the stadium.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there's plenty of places to go for you guys. So yeah, and to be fair, I would never give this advice to Cardiff fans, but Norwich fans, we've always had a good relationship and a history with you guys. So yeah, I think you'll be well received compared to the Cardiff fans who get bussed in and bussed out, and the Bristol fans who get bussed in and bussed out as well.
So we'll have to warn the Southwest Canaries and to be careful.
Yeah, no, they're all right. Just tell them to change their accent.
Brilliant. As we think about wrapping up then to let you two get on with your evening commitments, just predictions for the game, Owen and Jaimie, based on the starts of the season, your current home form, and Adam Eder guaranteed a hat-trick against Norwich. What are your predictions for the fixture?
For me, I think it's going to be a 1-1 score draw, personally.
Yeah, for myself, I go for a score draw. I'll go for like a 2-2. But I'll also say, yeah, Adam Eder score, and I can also guarantee Harry Darling will get a bullet header as well. Which will put tears on my face, but it is what it is, isn't it?
What sort of a welcome will he get?
I think he will get a pretty decent welcome, to be fair. Like he did, I think from my understanding, he had options at the end of the season. I think the club offered him such a strong contract, more than what was on offer, and I think he did highly consider it. But then when Liam Manning went to Norwich, I think for him, like previously working with Liam Manning and MK Dons, I think that was a new chance for him to try it out. So I don't blame him. Like whenever he played for Swans, he always gave 110%. And he was well received by the club, and he also enjoyed his time down here. So I think he will get a decent reception. I know that one or two other players that have also left the club this season probably won't get as much of a reception, but yeah, I think Harry Darling's one of those few I think will have a pretty decent reception, to be fair.
Those who haven't been at this, I guess, is it the SwanseaCity.com stadium now? You keep changing the name of it, but there must be some dodgy stuff going on there. But leaving that aside, what's the atmosphere like pre-match, and any chance we should listen out to?
In terms of the atmosphere of the club, it does dip and dive. It depends obviously on the form and how much the crowd we get. But when the atmosphere gets going, it does really build up, and you can hear it from across the way, across the valleys. But yeah, I think especially with the upturn recently, especially with the new ownership coming in, and you've also got the club seem to be doing a lot more in terms of fan engagement beforehand, and I'm trying to make it more of a Swansea City thing instead of just like a generic football club thing. I think there is such a good feel factor around the club. I think the atmosphere is better than it has been recently. So it won't be like as massive as it has been years ago when we were in the Premier League, where the atmosphere is bouncing pretty much every game, but it's getting far better than it has been. So yeah, it should be a good atmosphere for any Norwich City fans coming down.
Have you all started rapping yet, or are you still on chance?
Snoop Dogg is actually due to come to a game. We don't know which one yet, but he is actually due to come to a game. So, I mean, you can imagine his son's already been down, but he hasn't yet. So, and we're hoping that Luka Modric gets bored in Milan as well and comes and plays for the club that he owns. So, fingers crossed that'll come sooner rather than later.
So he could be on the bench.
That would be pretty bad, yeah.
Yeah. It'd be an interesting podcast next time if he comes, wouldn't it? So, yeah.
Brilliant. Well, Cillian's going to talk now about an upcoming rock album that we've got, and is going to share a little anecdote there as well.
We're going to try and compete with Snoop Dogg for the top of the charts. So myself and Nick are about to release a rock album at Christmas, and every away match we release a single from that album. And this week we're going to sing you out, fans, with Driving the Dragons Road in honour of playing Swansea. So thanks again, lads, for joining us this evening. It's been a real pleasure.
Thanks, lads. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
I'm just going to...
Nick's on the motorway, Cillian's in the sky. Over the Severn Bridge, the canaries fly. Welsh winds call, liberty awaits. Jack Army chants, but will change their fate. Driving the Dragon's Road, yellow banner show. From Dublin to the valleys, the Canaries roll. Sing it loud in Swansea, let the story be told. Norwich City's glory, painted green and gold. From Wynn Street bars to Swansea Bay, the Jack Army chants, but we outplay. Every mile we sing our tune, Norwich rising under the moon. Driving the Dragon's Road, yellow banner show. From Dublin to the valleys, the Canaries roll. Sing it loud in Swansea, let the story be told. Norwich City's glory, painted green and gold. From Wynn Street bars to Swansea Bay, the Jack Army chants, but we outplay.